Among mystical stories, there are those that arouse great curiosity, fear, or disgust. But you still realize it's fiction, and it doesn't stick. You listen and forget. But there are stories that really get to goosebumps, to the cold behind your back, as if the messenger of death himself hugged you by the shoulders. These are the stories of eyewitnesses. They are often not so colorful, not abundant in details, but the soul recognizes the truth, and you think. You begin to realize that the world is not as simple as we used to see it. It's not as explainable. I heard this story by chance from an elderly taxi driver. It was not me who started the conversation, but my fellow travelers. I just kept quiet and listened, and I'll describe it unvarnished as I remembered it. It was 20 years ago, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. It still gives me the same chills. Though you might say it was nothing special and just a play of my imagination. It was the end of December, as it is now. It was freezing cold. I was still working at the factory, in the Department of Technical Control. I didn't even think of working in a taxi. So, I had a day off, and I went to my mother's house to help her around the house. My father was gone by then, so she was left alone in the house with the household, shoveling snow, chopping firewood, cleaning the cattle. You know what I mean. So I worked all day long. It got dark early, and by the time I got home, it was already dark. My mother insisted I stay with her, but I had to work the next day, so I went. Driving through the village, I know I'll soon turn onto the motorway. 40 minutes there, and I'm home. I took my dog with me then. I had a young husky, Dino. I wanted him to run in the snow, to get some air, so to speak. So, we were driving along, and then my Dino started howling. Yes, howl like a wolf. I've never heard him howl before or since. Well, it's not typical of him. But here, it was so long, so horrible. It made the hairs on my head stand on end. And I look at the road, and I don't recognize it. I should have been on the motorway a long time ago. But no, for some reason I'm still driving on a snow-covered country road. Not only that, the streetlights are gone. I grew up in that village, and I knew all the roads, paths, turns, every bump, in short, like the back of my hand. I couldn't get lost, night or day. I look and realize I'm going the wrong way. And the road was covered with snow, and suddenly I saw crosses on the right, and I realized where I was going. It was an abandoned road near the old part of the cemetery. Only in summer, sometimes, cars drive along it. In winter, nobody uses it, and it is completely covered with snow until spring. How could I drive on it? How could you? I was watching the road. I wasn't sleepy. I wasn't drunk. I still don't understand, but it gets worse. I realize I'm going the wrong way. I know I should stop and turn around, but I can't. I'm just going straight ahead, and that's it. And I have no panic, no fear, no tension, and there's no questions in my head. It's like a clear mind. It's like it's just the way it should be. Then I drive another 100 meters, and I see a car standing in the middle of the road, and a bloke waving at me. So I stopped next to him, got out. I saw the car had its belly firmly planted in the snowdrift. And the man says to me, "We're stuck. Can you help us pull the car out of the snowdrift?" Well, why not help? Then my Dino jumped out of the car. He started sniffing around, and then he saw this bloke. He tucked his tail, whimpered, went back in the car, and never came out again. That's so unlike him. He's a curious weasel. What happened to him then? I told the bloke that the road was deserted, that they didn't use it in winter. and that if I hadn't come here by chance, he would have had to walk to the village to look for a tractor. And he said that he himself was not from here, and he was visiting, so he came here. He thought to shorten the way. Then a woman got out of the car. I couldn't get a good look at her. It was dark. Young, I think. Anyway, the man hooked himself up to the cable, and I pulled him out. Same as usual. Thank you, and I just drove off. Then I look in the mirror, and I see these two guys standing by the car, looking back at me. You can see their dark silhouettes, and their eyes burning like lights. Yeah, like a dog's eyes were on fire, very bright. I don't know, it was something. I can't explain it. Maybe I imagined it. I got home without any adventures, but my dog ran into the flat and hid behind the sofa and didn't come out to eat until morning. I never saw that man again. I've been going to my mother's house for years. Nothing like that ever happened to me again.